Welcome to the Swim Smooth podcast, Mr. Daniel Wiffen. Thank you very much. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. How's you just got back from Doha, obviously. How was the trip back? Did they fly you first class?
No, I no actually I think it was full. I think the plane was full, but I think Alan actually tried, but no, I just flew in economy sadly. But no, it was good. Came back and also raced at our British University Championships, and then just fresh off the back of a week off as well. So
Where
yeah,
did they hold
we're
that?
hurting at the moment.
Where
They
did
were
they
the
hold it?
weekend after where or
Yeah. Where? Sorry, yeah.
in Sheffield.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right. Ponds Forge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right, mate. Well, yeah. Welcome to the show. So, for anyone who's missed me waxing lyrical about Dan swimming on our blog, our Instagram, and YouTube, today's guest, Dan Wiffen, broke Grant Hackett's longest-standing 800 freestyle world record back in December with a crazy quick 7 minutes 20 seconds .46 to eclipse Hackett's 2008 world record of 7:23.42. Now, coincidentally, that previous record was set less than a week after Dan's seventh birthday and during the supersuit era as well, which just demonstrates just how long it stood for. Dan's also, as I mentioned just beforehand, Dan's also just back from the World Championships in Doha, where he won the 800 and the 1500 double, and is looking to do the same in Paris this summer. I'd say this just about makes you the world's best male distance freestyle swimmer at the moment, mate, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, Dan. Now that you're back, what does the training look like? I would imagine you've been absolutely under the pump with media requests and those sort of things.
Yeah, so we did all the media stuff after. So as soon as I finished World Champs, obviously went and raced, and then I got a week off where we try to get every single bit of media done, so then we can just get straight out of training. But this week we're starting off slowly. We're doing like 60K this week, so not too big. We're starting to. I think we started on 5K, and we're just gonna finish the week off with a couple 6Ks, and then on Sunday we head to Arizona at Flagstaff, where we're going to be going for our altitude camp 4 weeks, and we're going to hit some big meters there.
Do you know? Do you know what altitude that is, Dan? There.
2,100 meters, I think.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Have you ever been higher than that at all, or?
Sierra Nevada, I think it's 2,250 meters. That's the highest
Yeah.
I've
Right.
gone.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And are you quite a good responder to those sort of conditions and stuff, or?
Yeah, I think they were saying how they. Sorry, I just saw some of the comments. My trainer
Yeah.
partners in the comments. But I saw. Sorry, what I was saying was yeah. So I think Loughborough we do some testing on but pre and post altitude, and they told me that I have some of the like best responses from the altitude training they've ever seen. So it works for me, I guess, which is great.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've never done much of it myself. When we were at Bath University, they put in like an altitude chamber where we had to do like running on a treadmill in the morning. But I absolutely hated it. It just felt really claustrophobic in there. So I can imagine what it's like there. I've been to Boulder in Colorado, but I think that's only about 1,600 meters, something like that. But even
Mhm.
then, I felt like I struggled a little bit with it. But yeah, there we go. Right. Okay. Well, so firstly, Dan, I'd love to know, if you don't mind sharing with us, what it was like breaking Hackett's world record in December. You mentioned beforehand about the boosters and stuff, and I love how you're still so passionate about university sport in the UK. I remember racing the 1998 Booster 1500 short course final in a time that would have seen you, like me, 6 times in that 25-meter pool. Funny story, but I went out in a 62 that day and died a death. And it was my swim coach, Dave Lyles, who told me about this amazing Australian swimmer called Grant Hackett. And Dave said to me, he said, Newsom, that was absolutely rubbish. You need to go and study Hackett and his impeccable pacing strategy. And this actually then fueled my love for long distance swimming, believe it or not, Dan, and coaching as well. So it's really great that I'm now sat here talking to you about this all these years later on. So tell us, if you will, what it was like breaking that 800.
Yeah, so I mean, it was obviously pretty amazing. I had my sights on it after the year before. So the year before, I went 7:25.9, and I broke the European record in Dublin for our like national short course meter championships. and then I knew the next time I swim it, I would break it. It was just waiting basically the year to do it. But yeah, so I mean, it was at the European Short Course Meter Championships in Romania, and we started off the week. We this is the first time I ever did the 400 meter, like a international competition, whatever, and it was short course meter. So we won. I became European champion on the first night in the 400 freestyle with a
Amazing.
3:35 low. Then everything was quite close. I actually should give a bit of backstory to this as well. We actually
Yeah, please
raced
do.
2 days before. We raced 2 days before in where were we? We were in the Netherlands, and it was a long course hit out because we wanted to get some long course in because it's the Olympic season. And we went in and I did a double 1500. So I did the 1500 heats, 1500 final. I went 14:55 and 14:48 in those two, and I did an 800 heats where I went 7:45, and that was all long course. And then I flew out from Netherlands to Romania 2 days later. I saw my 400 freestyle short course when I went 3:35. Then I think there was a day break, and then I had was there a day break? No, it's the next. Was it the next day? I think it was the next day or a day off. No, it's definitely the next day. Had the 800 heats. Just casually made it back. I don't know what time I went, and then sorry, the 1500 heats I meant. And then I went swam 15:09 to become European champion for the second time in the 1500, which I was okay with the time, but I would have liked to have been a bit faster. I think I had my sights set on that world record as well, but my pacing was a bit off. And then I got to the 800 at the end of the week, and we went at the world record, obviously. And it was a pretty tough time of racing. I think it was like over 10 days. I did 4 1500s, 3 800s, and 2 400s. So
Wow.
uh, and I finished it off with a world record. So I mean, I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. That's yeah. And when you said you were racing in the Netherlands, was that I saw one of your YouTube videos with yourself and Nathan on your Wiffen's Twins YouTube channel, which is excellent, by the way, everyone. If you haven't watched it and tuned into it, Dan and Nathan like absolutely riff off each other. And I remember listening to you guys talking about the 800, and Nathan kept saying to you, oh Dan, your leg kick is it could have been so much better, or your turn could have been. And I was like, hang on, he just broke the world record. Like give him a little bit of slack, sort of thing. But you were also over in Eindhoven. Was that in connection with the Netherlands race, or was that a way back beyond there?
That was in September, so this was in end of November, December. Eindhoven was it's they have a tank in there with a load of
Yeah.
cameras in, and they have sensors, and it's for technique basically. But no, this is we were I've forgotten the place where we were, but it was at the top of the Netherlands, not Eindhoven's down the bottom.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now you mentioned just before we got on the chat here that you feel like your technique has gone maybe a little bit backwards between the world champs last year and the world champs. I can't believe that, seeing how well you swam just in Doha. But tell us a little bit about that. And was that why you were in Eindhoven working on that?
So no, we were going to. I was always going to go to Eindhoven, and we had the trip booked in for about 6 months before. So even before I went to the World Champs, but really, so my technique is like, obviously, it's going to change. I think maybe because I was probably still, I'd done more events and stuff like that at this World Championships. I had the 400 in, and maybe I was a little bit tired towards the end of the meet. But yeah, I don't know. I felt like it looked a lot smoother in the last World Champs than this one. But certain areas, the reason why I went faster in the 15 in this one than the last one was, I think, to do with turns, where we've improved a lot of time on. I don't know how much I'm knocked off, but it's a lot, and it's mainly to do with we test 5 in 5 out on the race videos, so it's just my 5 in 5 out was quicker, and I think it was all to do with attacking the walls more at this World Champs.
Yeah, right, right. I know certainly after the after watching you smash that 1500, which we'll get onto with a little bit of an analysis of that. If people didn't watch that, it was just absolutely mind blowing. You won by nearly 25 meters over the 1500, and I
Yeah.
remember going to the pool the next morning. I do a 10-400 set every Monday morning. I'm a bit religious about doing that, and I set an absolute cracker of a set that day because I was just trying to mimic what you were doing in and out of the walls a little bit, and trying with that 2-beat leg kick, which you talked a lot about in one of your YouTube videos there as well. So anyway, before we dive into a series of questions, then like where we get really down and dirty, if you like, with your swimming, your preparations, I know our listeners are going to love all of that. I just want to start off. It feels wrong for me not to start off without apologising for my very embarrassing mistake the other week, Dan. You see, I was so fueled up after having remixed yours and Nathan's Instagram post with you talking about your 2-beat leg kick and how you found a stroke which works really well for you. And that's what we're all about here at Swim Smooth, finding the right stroke for you. That I rushed to put out an analysis of yours and Simona Quadrella's wins in Doha. Obviously, she won the 800 and 1500 double two. And then I mistakenly picked up Sven Schwarz's swim he's from Germany in the video clip, who's got almost the exact same 2-beat leg kick as yourself, but he's on the opposite side of lane 4. Now, I'll give myself a little bit of slack. It was at 2 a.m. in the morning when I was actually producing that video, but I didn't actually realise it until someone put up a comment on the YouTube video, and I felt absolutely terrible. Initially, I thought, I can't have got it wrong. But then I realised I had. So, and as we'd already started talking about doing this podcast together, I then had to come to a tail between my legs. And I just wanted to say thank you because you were very gracious. You didn't say, who the hell is this crazy idiot? So thanks from me, and sorry about that. And I've since added an edit into the video, Dan. So I don't know if you want to add anything to that, because you said you'd seen it yourself, and you picked it up straight away. Right?
I actually watched the video. I don't know. I watched it in between my 1500 heat and final. My mum sent it to me, and I knew instantly it wasn't me who was in the video, but my parents didn't know, and I told them, that's not me. Actually, the analysis of technique, and I just left it at that. I didn't want to. I didn't really think it needed to be publicly said, but I didn't really matter.
That was very gracious of you, Dan, because I felt like an absolute idiot, I have to say. So I've been telling all my mates about it over coffee after a swimming session, and they said, "Oh, he's never going to come and have a podcast with you now." I was like, "Oh, well." Anyway, everyone makes mistakes, right? But
it just shows how similar all distance swimming is at the moment. To be honest, how everybody is doing that 2-beat leg kick there.
Absolutely, and that was really the point of the analysis, right? Was to actually demonstrate the fact that I think you said in your original video with Nathan, you talked about the idea that that's the way that distance freestyle is going, with a 2-beat kick and not so much of a push and drive off the wall, which was quite different. I was watching back the actual video footage of Grant Hackett in 2008 when he set that record, and very different sort of style, longer stroke, much stronger 6-beat leg kick, and obviously wearing one of the suits as well. You wouldn't have got to experience any of that suit era at all, would you? When did you actually get into it?
I've worn one.
You've worn one?
I've worn one in training. Yeah. I mean, no, I never experienced. Definitely stopped in 2009, was it? When they
2009, yeah.
Yeah, no, I wasn't really swimming competitively until 2013, but no, yeah, it was weird. I mean, it's definitely more buoyant. I think it's similar to open water suit. That's how I'd say, yeah.
And that's probably a good point to ask you this question, because I know everyone who's listening into this would probably be dying to know. You do the 400, you do the 800, you do the 1500. A lot of the guys that you race against, especially in the 1500, transfer across into the open water as well. Are we going to see you out there in the open water anytime soon, do you reckon?
Yeah, in Paris Olympics, I'll be doing the 10K.
You will be doing the 10K? That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you're doing all 4 events, then, are you? Maybe.
To be confirmed.
To be confirmed, right. Okay, fair enough. We'll leave it at that. Wow. Okay, cool. And where in the UK, UK and Ireland, where would you get your open water practice in? Or will you do it mainly maybe on a training camp, when you're away or whatever?
Oh, I'm not going to do any. I'm just going to go in. My Paris will be my first ever open water swim, and I mean, I do the similar training to the open water swim as I continue. I can tell you, I'll back myself to be able to hold the same pace as everybody. It'll just be if I can maintain concentration for 2 hours, basically, will be my struggle. But no, I'm pretty. We sometimes stick boys in the pool in Loughborough, either end of the 50 meter and go around that on our long aerobic sessions where we do like 2,000 straight, stuff like that. Or Andy loves to give us like timed swims on a Friday morning, so we will do like a set where we go like 30 minutes swim and then like 4 150s, I don't know, like mix of free back, and then a 25-minute swim, and then so you just keep going like that. But it's meant to be like aerobic, but me and all like to race it, so I mean my best is like I can hold 102s for a while or something like that. So
it's totally mental. Yeah. 102. Wow. I think the seeing you over there in Paris, like before anybody sort of starts going, how can you be doing this first ever open water swim in the Olympic Games final for the 10K? Just before anyone gets on their high horse regarding that, David Davies, who we've had on this podcast as well, the Welsh swimmer, actually did his second ever open water swim at the Beijing Olympics in 2008 and finished silver. He was leading for most of the race, and a little bit of a tactical error potentially at the end there. Otherwise, he would have taken the gold medal in Beijing, and that was only his second ever open water race. And I know a lot of the guys that I coach over here, we love to swim in the open water, but I know a lot of the elite open water swimmers mainly train in the pool.
Yeah. I know. Well, all my training group, we got 2 Olympic qualifiers in the 10K. We got Toby Robinson and Hector Pardo, who train with Hector Pardo, obviously bronze medalist at the most recent the Doha World Championships in the 10K. But they train in the pool, but they do on a Sunday. They swim in a lake close to Loughborough. But I won't be partaking in any of that. The pool is the priority. The pool is priority for me. So the 10K is just an add-on for a bit of fun.
Within the program, I haven't looked closely enough at the program, not realizing you're doing the 10K. Where does the 10K fit within the program on a schedule basis?
Well, the pool's obviously the first 10 days of the Olympics, and then I think it's 4 days after the pool finishes the 1500 final. It's the 10K.
Yeah. Let's assume that everything goes as splendidly as it's looking like it's going at the moment. Would you ever get to the point where maybe after the pool you just think, okay, look, I've had a great time here, I'll maybe leave the 10K for another time, or are you definitely dialed in for that?
No, I'm definitely doing it. It's not about anything to do with that I want to be successful in the 10K. I mean, I'd love to win it, but I mean, I'm not going in with my first time doing a 10K expecting to win the Olympics. But I'm going in. I'm only doing it really because my training group is doing it. I mean, my training partners, Felix Albeck is doing it. Obviously, the 2 open water guys who have already qualified, and then Lucas Henvo, if he qualifies in the 800, and he's going to do the 10K hopefully, and then maybe my brother Nathan, if he qualifies at the Irish trials in May, he'll also do the 10K. So we could have a good amount of us there, and we're just doing it as like a fun swim because it's going to be, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say this, but it could be Felix's last Olympics, or a lot of people in my groups, and we all want to race together one last time. So the 10K is a perfect opportunity.
Yeah. That'd be epic. Yeah. We've one of the local guys, Carl Lee, has just qualified for the 10K here from WA, and he's an absolute beast. So it'd be great to see you go head to head with him. He definitely hasn't got your speed over the short stuff, but he's got quite a bit of experience in the open water. And obviously, one of the other swimmers who was there in Doha, who I guess if you said you're the king of distance freestyle there in Doha, the queen would have been Simona Quadarella winning the 800 and 1500 double. She's got a little bit of experience in open water as well, and apparently she's actually since decided just to go back to the pool. Did you have a chance to speak with her much after the racing and stuff? Do you speak any Italian, or were you in any interviews together?
No, I've never spoken to her.
Oh, you haven't?
No, never. No.
That's a shame. I had these pictures of you guys both being sort of heralded as distance freestyle swimmers of the world type thing, king and queen, but obviously not. So with respect to the pool swims then, the 4, 8 and the 15, which would you say is actually your favourite distance, and why would that be?
So short course 800 is my favourite, long course 1500 is my favourite. The reason why it's like different because short course 1500 makes me feel sick. There's just way too many turns, and you've got to really whip the walls, to be honest, when you're in the short course, and yeah, it just takes a lot out of you, especially on the legs. And then long course 1500, I feel like that's the best. I get into a really good rhythm, and I just enjoy racing it, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, again, keep going back to that 1500, which we're going to look at in a moment, and that was the thing that sort of stood out to me more than, I get quite geeky when it comes down to the technique and stuff, and what you're actually doing underneath the water and all that. But the big thing that really stood out to me on that 1500 was just the fluidity and the rhythm that you had there. And I think that was the for me personally, it was the really inspiring thing, and it was the thing that pushed me onto a great 10-400 set the next morning. So thanks for that, Dan. It was really appreciated. Yeah, cool. All right. So now, one of the things that I've really come to love about your approach, Dan, is your entry onto the pool deck. I know you and Nathan have talked about it on your YouTube channel, and we've seen the call home gesture. You won the 800 and the watch check when you came on for the nearly breaking the 1500 world record. To me, you've made distance freestyle fun to watch again. So thanks for that as well. I think that a bit of that sass is actually a really cool thing. Do you work on it? Do you actually work on those moves going onto the pool deck with Nathan or anything like that? Is it something you do at home?
No, it's normally like a night before thing.
Is
Uh,
it?
I like, yeah, I don't actually tell anybody like before the 800, I told everybody I was going to do the foam, and then after the for the 1500, I just told everybody I was going to do summit, but they didn't know, so everybody was really like wanted to watch what I was going to do. But no, Nathan thought of all those ones for world champs, and I think before I broke the world record, we did like shooting guns, but I didn't really think that was appropriate to do
Oh,
again.
yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
We did. So yeah, for I guess the next competition where we'll do as probably Olympics, but Nathan told me I've got to think of them all myself now because I've been stealing his ideas. So
Oh,
I'll
okay.
have to. But yeah,
Who's the
I don't
oldest
know.
between you and Nathan then, obviously?
I am by 3 years, 3 months, 3 minutes. Sorry, 3
3 minutes. Yeah,
minutes.
right. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
3 months would be an interesting one for sure for your poor mum. But yeah. Wow. Okay. So yeah. No, I just thought it's really cool because I mean, everyone when you watch some of the other guys walking out, I won't mention any names particularly, but there was a lot of very serious faces coming out onto the pool deck on that 1500, and it's just nice to see a little bit of sass, a little bit of bravado and stuff. And I think it's a cool thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you won't ever see me looking serious walking out for a race.
That's really good. That's really good. And now I happen to have read on your website that not only have you appeared with Nathan and your sister in the sister Beth in the Game of Thrones, which you can maybe tell me about a bit in a moment, but you've also done some work with the famous Yorkshire actor Sean Bean on a Frankenstein adaptation. Are we likely to see you do that electrocution scene on one of your walkouts? Maybe could that maybe be one of the new ideas going forwards?
But that might look a bit weird. But yeah, we child acting when we were younger. Not that many people actually know I have a sister, so there you go. But no, I don't think I'll be going back into acting anytime soon. Swimming takes up too much of my life.
Yeah, absolutely. But what was it like being part of the Game of Thrones?
Yeah, amazing. I've obviously got to see all the sets and everything. I mean, I was like, I don't know how old I was, like 12 or something like that, maybe less, maybe like 10 when I did it. So I don't remember a lot of it, but my mum's got all the photos and stuff like that. So they just, I could look back at them. And then we recently visited the studios again. I got invited back to go have a look around after all the swimming success I've had. They finally noticed me. So,
Yeah.
but then obviously working with Sean Bean was pretty cool. It was on Netflix actually, that show, and on BBC on ITV as well. But yeah, that was a pretty cool thing. We had a pretty big part in that TV show. But yeah, it's kind of all gone over my head now because I can't really remember what I actually did.
We just had a comment pop up just saying Dan Wiffen will be the next James Bond. How's that sound?
Yep, I mean, yeah, amazing.
Yeah, I reckon that'd be pretty cool. I was actually just over in Dubrovnik racing a big marathon swim over there back in October, and I don't know if you've been to Dubrovnik, but the whole town it's like Game of Thrones mad basically, which was where many of the scenes were actually filmed. Have you been there?
No, I've not been there.
Well worth a bit of a walk down memory lane sort of thing. But there we go. Yeah. All right. Okay. So back to the swimming. What we're here to talk about. Do you have a favourite swim session and why? And equally, what is a swim set that you perhaps dread if you do it on a fairly regular basis?
Yeah, I mean, we never really repeat sets, to be honest. We always have different. I think we maybe only do the only set we probably do would be we do 31s a lot. Well, not a lot. I probably do them like 3 times a year,
Okay.
maybe 2 times a year. And but we do them. We don't do them as like 31s as like off 130. We do them like kind of a crazy way. We do them like start five, so in blocks of five, but you don't get any rest in between. It's just so the first five on 115, then on 120, then on 125. I need to
Yep.
work this out in my head, and then you go back down.
So it's like almost like a
Uh,
pyramid where it gets
like
easier.
pyramid
Well, it gets
31s.
more rest to start off with. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you go back down. And then what but my favourite set I don't really that set's okay. So like 31s is like an average distance set that everybody does. I don't know who started it. Was it Kieran Perkins started it or was it I don't know, or was it Grant Hackett? I don't know. One of the two. I always remember seeing that when I was younger, but they and then but my favourite set is 6 500s off 530 long course.
Six five
Um,
hundreds off 530.
yeah, and you gotta be sub
Wow.
five.
Ooh. Wow. That's crazy. And are you ever suited for those, or is it always just
Yeah,
in?
yeah, I'd suit for that set. Um, we only suit up in training. Really, we don't suit up until like this season. We suited up a lot earlier because of the world champs, so we started suiting up in January just before. But until you're talking, we wouldn't start suiting up until probably around like May time. Uh, when we start putting suits on in practice.
Yeah, right. Okay, cool. And I know that you're obviously sponsored by Finis, and we're big fans of them here too. I've been talking about and educating people on the use of their products for many, many years now. Do you have a favorite bit of their kit that you tend to use on a regular basis?
Yeah, well, I've got a couple. One of my favorites, obviously the Hydro X. Obviously it's like, well, I always say it's the fastest suit in the world because obviously Cam McAvoy won it on the 50, in the World Champs in Fukuoka, and then I won the 800, 1500 in it so it's an all round suit basically. That's what I say, and 50 to 1500. And then I love that. It's obviously a really great piece of equipment. It's really good at keeping your hips up. I find it's just got the right amount of compression because like I find with some other suit brands that like since I don't use my legs and when I swim really that much, I kind of find like they're getting the circulation cut off when they're just sitting there. So the Hydro X is obviously really good. I feel like for that, and then the smart goggle is good, but I want to say that I don't use it like the conventional way.
Okay.
Um,
You got a
so
special way of
obviously,
using it?
yeah. So obviously, I've got that I like the goggles because they're really comfortable. But I sometimes just don't put the chip in the goggles because obviously I've got Andy timing me all the time. I've got a coach, and I feel like for that product, it's more for people who I guess aren't on that high performance element who they don't have a coach constantly standing over them timing them because you can get your splits obviously on the screen and the goggles. But I just put
Yep.
the chip in my cap sometimes because of the data is really good. And also, you know what we do use it for? They have a head 3D tracking system for your swims. So I can basically it tells me when I move my head and on like a swim effort on the app. So it's actually really useful.
Yeah, very useful indeed. Yeah, and again, that was one of the things I noticed about your 1500 technique, just how smooth the head position was as well. It looked really, really quite good. Again, I think Nathan was ribbing you a little bit for the 800, saying your head's moving around too much. I was like, really, I can't really see that. But anyway, there we
Well,
go.
it's all yeah at the top level of like technique and like going and like distance swimming. It's all like little things to be
Oh,
honest,
for sure.
and
Yeah, one percenters.
yeah, but little things in distance swimming turn out to big chunks of time getting knocked off if you get them right. So
Absolutely, absolutely. Do you ever, out of interest, one of the Finney's bits and pieces that we use quite a lot is the tempo trainer. Do you ever use that for any pacing or stroke rate work at all?
so I'm actually the only one in my group who does. Out of 13 people, I'm the only one who doesn't use one. Because I don't know. I always find tempo really easily. That's just how for me, I never really, but for other people, obviously it's great. But yeah, for me, actually, I never use it. But everybody else who does it in our distance freestyle group, I love for uses one, which is kind of odd because obviously I'm the fittest sponsored athlete and I don't use it, but everybody else is using it. So
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. I mean, we use them quite a lot actually within our program, what we do and stuff. But it's interesting is that I think what would be really cool. We often use it in mode 1, so we can actually set the interval per 25, so you can work out what pace you want to do for 25 and just dial that in. And if anyone's listening to this who've got a tempo trainer, what you should do is have a go at dialing in Dan's 25-meter pace and see how far down the pool, knowing that that's where he would be turning at 25, and most of us will probably get to about 10 or 15 meters. I would imagine, and you'd be pulling away. I did this really hardcore threshold session just before we got on the call tonight, and I absolutely smashed myself. And I worked out that if you were in the pool with me side by side doing it, you'd literally be about, I don't know, 15 meters over every 100 ahead, maybe even 20 meters over every 100 meters ahead. And I was absolutely crucifying myself. And swimming, as an age grouper, swimming reasonably well. So it just really puts it into context. So if you've got a tempo trainer and listening to this, dial in some of Dan's times. It's around about 58 seconds per 100 meters, or 29 seconds per 50 meters. It's truly insane. Anyway, Dan, I'm actually a little bit curious. You share the pool there in Loughborough with marathon swimming icon, and dare I say it, absolute beefcake, Ross Edgley. Do you guys ever do any weight training together? Do you see him on the pool deck? He's training up for some big long swims at the moment.
yeah, I've seen him once. To be honest,
Oh,
I've never spoken to him. I think he's more talking to our open water group. We train at different times of the open water group, so they train in like just a session after us because there isn't enough pool space for Andy to have. Like, we've got an IM group, distance freestyle, distance men and distance women, and if we add in open water, there's like 4 times different people. He's different squads. He basically has their time, so they go in their own session after us,
right.
and they grind out a 10K sessions. Well, I'll be sitting there on my 8Ks.
Yeah, fair enough. I just wondered whether or not you'd actually seen him in the gym as well, but maybe not. He's absolutely massive, and I think
Yeah.
he's training up for the world's longest swim again or something like that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm actually going to be in Loughborough in May. Actually, when I get there, will I see a big blown up poster alongside Adam Peaty of yourself, Dan? Down at the end of the lane there. Will you be there?
Not me. No. Hopefully, my world record plaque will be up on the pool, but no, I don't think they'll be changing those banners until maybe next season because the people up there are still swimming, and it might be a bit disrespectful to take them down.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. So just before we have a little look at this 1500 to wrap things up, then I'm interested in your average training week. If you're able to sort of share just very, very briefly, what does that look like in terms of the type of sessions? You mentioned that you don't really repeat many sessions, but what sort of volume is typical for yourself? And I think a lot of people listening as well would be curious to know whether or not you mix in some butterfly, backstroke, and breaststroke. I'm sure you probably do. Do you do much sprint work, dives, turns, that type of thing, even if it's just a very brief overview?
Yeah. So I'll just get run through the whole week basically. So we start off on a Monday morning. It's like a getting the week started. It's an aerobic with a little bit of kick and a bit of short speed. So talking like no more than 1,000 meters of kick on a Monday morning, and the short speed 15-meter efforts, stuff like that. And then the aerobic is like typically between 3 to 500 reps. So you could do like 10 fours, I don't know, or 5 5s, I don't know. It's whatever. Then in the evening we'll have a heart rate. Right now we'll have a heart rate session. If it's early on the season, we don't go heart rate until after Christmas. We just go fresh to threshold, and we have a heart rate session. It changes. It could be 500s. It could be 100s. 200s. It could be anything. It's whatever Andy writes for the day. Then on Tuesday morning, we have a kick set, which is around about 2,000 meters of kick total, and then the rest of it's just easy swimming aerobic. And
How do
then
you go when
on
you when
Tuesday
you're
night,
kicking just by when you kick? Sorry to jump in, but when you're kicking just by itself, you mentioned obviously when you're racing, you don't really kick that much, more of a 2B kick. If you're doing a pure kick set by itself, are you good? Are you fast, slow, not bad, somewhere in the middle? How do you go?
Uh, I'm like, so we have lanes set out of C, B, A plus times of like to make a kick. I don't know what times they'd be. Say like an A time would be going 100 on 130 for kick.
Yeah.
I would sit between the A and the B.
Okay. Yep.
Around. So I wouldn't be the worst, but I wouldn't be the best. Definitely anywhere. I wouldn't be anywhere near the best, to be honest. There's guys
Okay.
on my Lucas who made a comment there in the chat. He's insane at kicking. Or Hector Pardo, they'd be kicking times I couldn't even get near. To be honest, definitely able to hold sub 110 anyway. For
Wow.
ages.
Yeah, that's
Hundreds, but
crazy.
yeah.
Oh, I get
But
the message now. Then, so he said how important is kicking in distance swimming. So that was a little bit of a rib, was
well, I
it?
mean,
Probably.
to be fair, if I had a choice, I wouldn't do any kick sets to be honest. But it's the fastest way to get fit in swimming, and we do a couple of kick sets, but they're not massive. You know what I mean? And they're definitely the worst session of the week as well because yeah, I'm just not. I just don't like kick.
I think a lot of
But
people listening to this would sympathise with that.
and then so we carry on. Tuesday night is like our just like an aerobic IM session, if you know what I mean. So
Hmm.
that's where we probably we do a bit of fly, bit of back, bit of breast. Not that much breaststroke because so no, my knees can't really do that stroke to be honest.
Yeah.
And then we go Wednesday morning where we have a race pace session where we go like the quickest we go down to is 200 race pace, and we'd probably be hitting between 400 to 200 race pace on those sessions. It'll just be 50s and 75s sometimes, and yeah, that's what we do that day. Then we go to Thursday morning where we have a rainbow session. So that's obviously where we work on the color systems in Loughborough, where heart rate's measured by color. So
Okay. Yeah.
for we have got white, pink. So our lowest color would be white, but we have and we need to make up a new color because for our testing for the colors we do a 3K for time, and that's how you get your. Then Andy puts it into this I don't know spreadsheet, and it gives us these times or whatever. But our white times are too quick for what the color system's meant to be. Like I don't
Uh,
know, for example, my 102 for like a what's white heart rate like 150, 140 to 150, I think heart rate.
right.
So this is all long course, by the way, and so we had to make up a new color, so the white, because you can't swim at a 102 pace for your whole life. You know what I mean? So we'll do that, and then we
Horrible.
have pink, we have red, and then we have blue, and then we have purple, and then we have gold for like 15-meter sprints. Green is more for kick, for like max effort kick reps, stuff like that. But so the rainbow basically goes from white to purple. And that's normally around 400, 200 to 400 reps. We descend down to short course meter. Sorry, I should have said as well. Tuesdays and Thursdays are short course meter days,
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah.
then
So the ball gets shifted. Yeah.
yeah, and then Thursday night we have it's all like recovery session, where it's very low level and nobody's racing each other. Everybody is mutually agreed to go slow, and we put the cameras in and we have a look at our technique as well. On a Tuesday as well, we get in our very expensive camera system in Loughborough, like 360 view of your stroke. I think it's like $250,000 of it costs,
Wow.
but on a Tuesday we do that. That's where we really look at the technique, what and stuff like that. And then on a Thursday, it's drop-in cameras where they just technique checking, not changing anything, just checking it out. Because on the other camera system, you get angles and everything. It's really cool. But I mean, I don't know how to work it. I just watch it and I get told what to do, basically. Uh, and then on a
Sometimes the best way,
Friday
though,
morning,
right?
yeah, there's definitely. I prefer, to
Yeah.
be honest, I way prefer somebody. I'm very good. I think listen to everybody. If somebody has, even if I met them for the first time, if they tell me that I should try something else, I will definitely listen to it, and I might try, I might not. I'll talk to Andy about it, see his opinion, but I'm always quite open on listening to what people say because I mean somebody could say something that could absolutely improve my stroke and drop me 15 seconds or something like that on the 1500. So it's always good to listen, I think. And
Yeah.
then on to that, we had the Friday morning or long aerobic, which I explained earlier about how we could have like 25 minute swims straight and stuff like that. And then the Friday night's another heart rate set, similar to Monday night. And then Saturday morning is our biggest kick set of the week, where it's really all just focused on kick, and then we have a little bit of recovery after. And
Right.
sorry, I
Wow.
didn't tell you the week either. It's around about 80K we do a week, I'd say, and we do So it's around our long aerobic session would be our highest amount. It's either 8.5 or 9K on a Friday morning would be our highest session. But then when we go to altitude, that'll all thrown out the bin because we go way higher. So
But I bet you're looking forward to that then. Wow,
yeah,
that's a monster session, monster weekly schedule, I should say. Yeah. Now I'm going to bring up this 1500. We're going to have a real quick dive through that. Just as I bring it up,
yeah,
hopefully it shifts over here. Can you see that now, Dan? Just
yeah. I can. I
the
should
screen.
also mention that I do 3 gym a week as well, and I do 2 core circuits as well.
Man, that's a lot of training, But obviously, the results are coming in. One of the questions I was going to ask, and maybe we can just go into this whilst we're just tuning into this here. You've obviously mentioned Andy Manley on many occasion there. Your coach at Loughborough University. You've obviously made some absolutely fantastic improvements over the last little while, which is fantastic to see. Big shout out to Andy, obviously, on that. Just very briefly. Prior to that, have you had lots of other coaching influences over the years and stuff, or have you mainly just stayed with one or two coaches?
No, I've had a lot of coaches, but I've only seen major improvement through Andy. To be honest, I mean, when I came to Andy, I was a 15:39 swimmer, and then obviously last season 15, well, and this season 14:34. So I dropped over a minute with Andy, which is kind of incredible because obviously I've been dropping. This is my 4th year here, and every year I've dropped at least 16 seconds in the year on the 1500. So
Absolutely incredible. In fact, Bobby Hurley, who's commentating on this over here in Australia, makes a really good mention about how stepped and linear that sort of improvement has been for you over the last sort of 3 or 4 years. So yeah, like I say, big shout out to Andy and the rest of the guys in the team there at Loughborough University. So this is you just coming onto the pool deck here, just checking your watch. The commentators at that point were saying, "Oh, it looks like he wants to get on with this," but I'm assuming in your head there at that point you're thinking, "I've got the eyes on the world record here." Is that right?
no, it's actually it's all about the time. Basically, I'm not saying I'm gonna break the world record. I'm saying like I'm going for my own time. You know what I mean? It's my time,
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Yep. Cool.
and then I
Slightly
guess
more
have a
serious look
race.
on your face on that one, just walking in here, but ready to rock and roll. And obviously, when the other swimmers come on the pool deck, there's Sven Schwartz, who I got mixed up with. I do apologise about that. Feel really bad about that. Romanchuk as well, who's been he's still got the 1500 short course world record. Is that right, Romanchuk?
I know it's Florian Wildbrock who has the world record short
Oh,
course.
Florian Wellbrook. Beg your pardon. Beg your pardon. Yeah. Um, anyway, everyone coming out to things. So there's our lineup going into the start of it. Obviously, your seed there is a little bit lower down. It looked like maybe in the heats you backed off a little bit. Is that right to conserve?
Yeah, 100%. I think. Well, I don't know. Maybe I can say I don't know how the others feel, but I definitely felt like I went the easiest in the heats out of everybody, and I think that kind of played into my advantage in the final because I knew that I was just chilling out in the heats. Kind of weird to say, to be honest, going 14:54 and how easy it felt, but I mean, it was just how it felt in the race.
Yeah, well, perfect. So here we go. We're all getting stripped down, ready to rock and roll. So as soon as the gun goes off here, you very quickly start to forge a little bit of a lead here with the Tunisian swimmer. After around about 200 meters, then you start to break away from him. What's going through your head right now? I mean, like, it's really hard for probably people listening to this podcast and watching it on YouTube to really understand what it means and what it feels like to move as fast as what you're moving for 1500 meters. But what does it feel like for you in that first couple of hundred meters? Is it quite steady, quite comfortable, or what?
Yeah, I'm chilling out. I'm chilled out. I'm not trying to work too hard because if you work too hard at the start of the race, you ain't going to be there at the end. So it is really just about being as easy as possible, to be honest. And yeah, I mean, right now I'm thinking, well, right now I'm not even, I think I've probably got my eyes closed. I swim with my eyes closed a lot. I don't know why. It's just how I've always swam, and yeah,
I find myself
yeah,
doing that quite a bit as well. Actually, I've never really had that discussion with anyone about it. But yeah, okay, that's interesting, really interesting. Obviously, first split just under world record pace there, 27:09, and then we got a little bit further into the swim. Now,
well,
if we just
yeah.
this will
I'll
go
tell you what
just
I was thinking. Actually, I was
yeah,
thinking
please
this
do.
guy better move away from me on my outside lane. That's what I was thinking at the start of the race.
Move away from you like laterally, or move away as in like move back behind you. You mean, or
Move back. I need to
move
go a bit
back? Yeah.
faster.
He's obviously one of would it be one of Ahmed Hapnoui's teammates, I presume.
No, he's Turkish. That guy on the outside lane.
Oh, he's Turkish. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm getting everything wrong tonight. um, so here we go. We're starting to break away. This is what I was looking at with the head position here.
Yeah,
It just looks silky smooth there.
yeah, yeah. I think so. The way Nathan's not talking about the the height on like the world record, he's not talking about where my head is sitting on the water. It's more my breathing position when I breathe. My head when I breathe tends to drift to the side a bit, so it goes out of body line, and then my
Okay.
hip follows it.
Does it
But
almost look
that's what
like you're
Nathan.
looking slightly back behind you? Would you say, or
Yeah,
is that what he means?
that's exactly it. Yeah, because and then my head ends up coming like this, so I'm like end up my body moves with it, and it makes me look like I'm snaking a bit when I swim.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. So here we go. Look, we've got probably like 2 or 3 body lengths ahead, and we're only at just coming up to the 300-meter marker. At what point did there come a point where you know, okay, I've definitely got this in the bag now. It's all about the time. How early did that come within the race?
I mean, I don't want to sound like arrogant or anything, but probably like 200, 300 meters. I knew I had the race won. I just knew what pace I was going, and I'm like pretty good at knowing pace. I know what how everybody else swims the race, and I knew that I'd had this race won at 300 meters because nobody else was going to be able to make that big. They would have to hold 28 mids, and it was never going to happen.
Yep, absolutely. And this is when you were talking, obviously, about the 2 beat kick. We can just get a tiny little snippet of it. There's never enough underwater footage from these championships. As great as the footage is, you know, I just live for the underwater footage. And obviously, just coming into the wall here, we just watch this and in and out of the wall. It's a very, very little kick off the wall there. It's like a tiniest little thing. But you can see Dan's 2 beat kick action going along there. Is that something, have you always done that, or is it something that you tried to develop as you develop the technique for longer distance freestyle?
No, I've always done it. I've never been told to kick when I swam. I don't think you need to kick when you swim. It's whatever works for you. You always see these videos going around on everywhere saying that everybody should kick while they swim because it's easy speed. But to be honest, if you actually look into it, the legs are the biggest muscle group in your body, so then they're going to create the most lactate. And if you're kicking for 1500 and you have all that extra lactate, that really you don't. Well, it's obviously depends on the person, but if you're a 2 beat kicker, you're going to create a lot less lactate. Obviously, it depends on your physiology. And the person who's 6 beat kicking, so that's why a lot of distance swimmers don't use their legs the whole way. And it's also a good gear to go to at the end on the last 50. Kick your legs to go a bit faster, you know.
Absolutely, and you can certainly see you doing that especially at the end of the 800 freestyle in Doha was really quite impressive here. So we get a little bit further into the swim. Now you mentioned earlier on, if you look at this, the gap here is absolutely amazing. So bearing in mind it's like 1 a.m. in the morning over here in Perth, I can't shout and scream and stuff like that, but I was shouting at the TV, going, "My God, this is amazing! This is absolutely crazy, crazy, crazy!" How well you were going at that point. It's like nobody else was seemingly in the race alongside you. Did you ever hit a point during the 1500? You knew you had the race won by this point, but did you hit a point at any point there where you felt like, oh, I've blown up now, or it's really starting to pinch and hurt?
Never that I've blown up, but around now, the 800-meter mark, I was thinking, damn, it's got a long way to go. And I tapped into the kind of crowd noise, to be honest, and I knew because I wasn't feeling the best, and sometimes in the race you feel really good, and sometimes you don't feel good at all. And now I was kind of like not feeling good, but I knew I could hold the pace till the end, and I knew then I wasn't going to be able to push on when I wanted to for the to get the world record. But I mean, I was just then going for the best time. That's what I was going for.
You mentioned that you swim with your eyes closed quite a bit, but is there any point when you may have them open just for a smidgen and you can see Andy or whoever it might be on the pool deck calling out splits or just giving you a bit of an urge on? Do you ever see any of that, or is it more just the crowd noise that you can hear?
I'd say that it's like my split time going and stuff like that. But the crowd noise does help, because if you're on world record pace, the crowd are going to be cheering. So that's kind of how you know. Sorry, I think I just dropped out accidentally.
That's all right. That's all right. We're gonna wrap up in a moment anyway, mate. But yeah, so just talk us through maybe the final 100 meters then of the swim. You're gunning for home and stuff, and obviously feeling pretty good about it. When you touch the wall, what does that feel like? Am I right in thinking your parents were there in Doha watching you, or?
Yeah, they were. My parents were there. I mean, touching the wall, obviously, it was special in the 800 because it was my first time becoming a world champion. But this time, to be honest, I didn't even know how much I won it by. I was just really, I was in my own mind. And when I touched the wall, I was just like, oh, this is great. I wanted to see the time more. I saw that I got a PB. And then I was just like, all right, now we need to finish the celebration off.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can see there, obviously, that's the 25-meter marker. I don't know if you can see my cursor just on the screen, but the red marker's there, and we've got fourth place there at the red markers. So second place would be probably 20 meters or 19 meters behind it. It's an absolute massive margin, and yeah, something to be really proud of, as I'm sure you are, mate. So anyway, there we go. Right, so I'll just bring it back to this screen over here. And it's been an absolute honour speaking with you, Dan. Really appreciate all the time you've given us today, and thanks for supporting me through the little hiccup there at the start, getting things started, and equally my mismatch with yourself and Sven Schwartz underneath the water. I don't think I'm ever going to live that one down. But anyway, everyone gets things wrong sometimes. But I just want to ask one final tiny little question. I'm thinking it's been about 26 years for myself since I actually left university. When I left university at Bath Uni, I was swimming around about 18 minutes for 1500. I would love to try and get myself down to that point. I reckon I'm around about 1830, 1845 at the moment. To knock another 45 off, where would you say, myself or anybody else listening here, where would you say we best try and find that extra 45 seconds, I should say?
Yeah, so the turns, I think it's everybody's that's the easiest way, I think, to knock off time. If you want a little tip, me and my brother Nathan have always played a game. So I don't know if you're in a training group or whatever, but if you're swimming side by side with someone, and for example, I swam side by side with Nathan my whole life, and we will always play a game of who can turn faster, 5 in and 5 out. So if you're ever beside someone, just go race them and beat them 5 in, 5 out, and start a little race and see how many. Like, we tally up at the end of a session of how many times we won and lost, and we see who wins at the end of the session. So there's a little game if you want to play that to improve your turns.
And how's your tally against Nathan?
Yeah, I beat him a lot. To be fair, he hardly beats me now. So.
Right, okay. It must be awesome just having that brilliant training partner though, and somebody you can sort of bounce off with. And I'm assuming you roommate and stuff when you go on training camps and to world champs and those type of things.
Yeah, we live together, so as well we do have a friend together. So
Perfect.
Yeah, it's great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Dan, thanks ever so much for your time, mate, and it's been great chatting with you. And maybe I'll see you in Loughborough when I head back over there in May. It'd be awesome to see you properly live in action.
That sounds great.
Great stuff. Thanks, Dan.